of Little Red Riding Hood. Meet the characters, Little Red Riding Hood and the Wolf. This is the story of a little girl who lived a long time ago near a forest. Before I tell you of her adventure, perhaps you would like to know how she got her interesting name. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood because of a special red hood her grandmother had made for her to wear. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother called her into the house and said, "I want you to take a basket of food to your grandmother. She is ill, you know. I've baked 2 pies for her, and here is some honey your father found in a tree last week. You know how your grandmother likes sweet things." Little Red Riding Hood was so glad to do this errand for her mother. The little girl fixed her hood carefully on her head as her mother put the food into a basket. "Now be careful walking through the woods. Go directly to grandmother's house and don't talk to strangers." Little Red Riding Hood waved to a big yellow and brown butterfly that flew across her path. As she danced happily through the woods, she thought, "What harm could there be here?" But Little Red Riding Hood did not know that a wicked old wolf was hiding behind some flowers. He had smelled the pies and honey. He began smacking his lips and thinking what a delicious dinner they would make. But how could he get them from the little girl? Then the wolf had an idea. He stopped Red Riding Hood and said in his sweetest wolf voice, "Who are you? Where are you going? What do you have in that basket?" "My name is Little Red Riding Hood, and I'm taking some pies and honey to grandmother, who lives just beyond the miller's house." You see, Little Red Riding Hood had completely forgotten her mother's warning not to talk to strangers. Then the wolf said, "Well, I'm walking the same way. Why don't we have a race to see who gets there first?" Red Riding Hood thought this would be fun, for she liked to play games. The wicked wolf winked, pleased with his idea for a race. "What a smart fellow I am," the wolf said to himself. "She will take the regular road. I'll be there before her by taking a shortcut." The wolf ran as fast as his legs would carry him. "What a delicious dinner I shall have when the little girl gives me the basket instead of giving it to her grandmother." Meanwhile, Little Red Riding Hood soon grew tired of running. The trees, flowers, and water were all so pretty, she thought. She stopped to pick some flowers and soon forgot all about her race with the wolf. She watched some rabbits play around a fallen tree. She even joined in the games herself. But the wolf did not stop along the way. He was soon approaching Grandmother's house. He tiptoed quietly to the house. The wolf looked around carefully to see if anyone was watching as he pounded the iron ring against the wooden door. Grandmother was reading in bed when she heard the knock. Thinking it was Little Red Riding Hood, she said, "Come in." The wolf stuck his head through the door. Thinking to fool the grandmother, he asked, "Is Little Red Riding Hood here?" When Grandmother saw who it was, she screamed and jumped out of bed. In trying to catch Grandmother, the wolf fell over the bed and became tangled in a blanket. While the wolf was trying to untangle himself, Grandmother ran out of the back door. The wolf thought to himself, "I know a good trick that will fool Little Red Riding Hood. I'll dress up in Grandmother's clothes, in her nightgown, her cap, and even her glasses. Then I'll fool the little girl into giving me the pies and honey." Little Red Riding Hood had no way of knowing what was in store for her. She was in no hurry. She had so many little animal friends, and they loved to run back and forth over a bridge made out of a fallen tree. But finally she reached the miller's house and waved to the miller. "Say hello to Grandmother for me," he said. Then she hurried on her way and knocked on the door with the same big iron ring the wolf had used. She called through the door, "It's Little Red Riding Hood, and I have brought you some sweets, Grandmother." "Come in, my dear," the wolf called, trying to change his voice to sound like Grandmother's. The little girl opened the door, saying, "Grandmother, what a hoarse voice you have." "It's because I have a little cold, my child, nothing more." "Grandmother, I brought you some sweets in this basket, but you look so strange." "Grandmother, what big eyes you have." "The better to see you with," the wolf said. "And Grandmother, what big ears you have." "The better to hear you with, my child." "But Grandmother, what big teeth you have." "The better to eat you with." He jumped out of bed, realizing that he could not fool the little girl any longer. Little Red Riding Hood screamed and started to run, not knowing just what to do. Suddenly in rushed three woodcutters who were passing by and heard the little girl's screams. Now it was the wolf who didn't know what to do. But the men knew. They put their sticks to work. They gave the wicked wolf a terrible beating, and they carried the wolf outside and tossed him high into the air. No one knows what happened to the wolf, for he was never seen in that forest again. With the wolf gone, the grandmother returned and hugged Little Red Riding Hood. The little girl remembered her mother's warning about going straight to grandmother's house and about not talking to strangers. Little Red Riding Hood promised herself that from now on she would always do just what her mother told her to do. The end. What a nice story, friends. Thank you so much for joining today's fun video time. Ta-ta until next time.